The new Queen Victoria cruise ship is arriving in Southampton this morning ahead of her official naming by the Duchess of Cornwall on Monday. The Southampton-based ship is the latest liner to be added to the Cunard fleet. She's the replacement for the QE2, which is being decommissioned next year. Cruising is a growing market, with an extra 1.5 million British people expected to go on a cruise next year compared to this year. The Queen Victoria is due to dock in Southampton at 9:30 this morning. In the next half hour, Cunard's latest cruise liner will dock in Southampton. This is the Queen Victoria making her way up Southampton water just a few minutes ago. She's the replacement for the QE2. The liner can carry more than 2,000 passengers. She'll be officially named on Monday by the Duchess of Cornwall. And you can see a full report on the Queen Victoria's arrival on South Today this evening, 6:30 on BBC One. The latest Cunard cruise ship gets the royal seal of approval today. The Duchess of Cornwall and Prince Charles are on board the Queen Victoria this lunchtime, getting a tour of the £300 million liner. She'll then be named in a lavish ceremony in Southampton this afternoon. Well, eager as always to get his spot at the front of our crowd is our transport correspondent Paul Clifton. So, Paul, at least the sun's come out for the royal visit.
The sun's out, you're right. Let's hope the champagne comes out of the bottle as well when it smashes up there a bit later this afternoon. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, is here with Prince Charles. They're on board at the moment having a look around. But come and have a look over here, because beside the ship on the dockside they've built a huge auditorium for 2,000 people, especially for this afternoon's ceremony. Getting in some last-minute practice. Many staff have transferred from other ships, but there's still a lot to learn.
It's smaller, but I think it's nicer. The Queen Mary is huge. Queen Mary is huge, but it's younger sister, almost.
The stage has better facilities than most theatres on land. The first show is tonight.
It's one of the signatures really of the ship, the fact that guests can come in and they feel like they're in a West End theatre.
Queen Victoria arrived on Friday. She'll be named this afternoon by the Duchess of Cornwall. It's for invited guests only, but there's a great view from Mayflower Park, and the ceremony will be relayed on a giant screen. Peter Shanks is from Cunard. Peter, Camilla's a perhaps surprising choice for this, given that every other Cunard queen has been named by a queen.
The Queen christened Queen Mary II here in Southampton 4 years ago. We asked the Duchess of Cornwall to christen Queen Victoria, and we're honoured she's here today with the Prince of Wales. And the Queen has given her blessing to us naming our next liner Queen Elizabeth.
And this one is effectively Queen Victoria, is effectively QE2's replacement.
We've had a couple of thousand of our QE2 passengers to have a look round over the last couple of days, and they're wowed by Queen Victoria. And we think after 2008, many of them will switch across to Queen Victoria as a good home for them.
Very briefly, talk me through what's happening this afternoon.
We have 2,000 people coming, we have dignitaries, we have an orchestra, we have an international singing stars. It's going to be spectacular. Only Cunard can deliver a ceremony like this.
Peter, thank you very much indeed. Now, this is a private invitation-only event, but take a look behind me, because that's Mayflower Park over there, and there's a giant screen built there and people can come and watch the event for free. And of course we'll bring you all the highlights of this afternoon's naming ceremony in that huge auditorium behind us on South Today this evening. Back to you, Joe.
It's growing faster than any other holiday industry. The cruising market is attracting millions of people, and today Southampton welcomed Cunard's latest ship, Queen Victoria. She'll effectively be the replacement for the QE2, which will be decommissioned next year. And to strengthen Southampton's position in the global cruise market, the port owner announced a deal to build a fourth terminal. Our transport correspondent Paul Clifton has been on board Queen Victoria.
Early this morning, Queen Victoria arrived in her new home port, fresh from the shipyard in Venice. At 90,000 tonnes, she's bigger than QE2, the ship she will effectively replace. She's bigger than either Queen Mary or Queen Elizabeth, but she's still a third smaller than Queen Mary II, and compared with those Cunard liners, she's a tortoise, with a normal cruising speed of 18 knots. On board, a handful of Italian dockyard workers are still making the finishing touches.
We've been from Marghera Port and to here to Southampton. The last 2-3 days have been a bit jumpy, but we made it.
Queen Victoria is more upmarket than some of Southampton's other ships. In January, she'll start a world cruise, £11,000 for an inside cabin, £115,000 for the grand suite. That's each. So nearly £250,000 for a couple, and that's before you start a tab at the 13 bars on board.
I don't know, it's just like a floating village, really. You just don't realise that you're on a ship.
Welcome, Queen Victoria!
As Queen Victoria berthed for the first time, the port owner, ABP, announced a deal to keep the world's biggest cruise company for the next 20 years. Carnival UK owns Cunard, P&O Cruises and several other brands. The deal will include a new 4th cruise terminal built in the Eastern Docks.
The hardest challenge, I would say, is just getting all the crew ready and gelling them all together as one unit, as one big family.
Queen Victoria will be named on Monday afternoon by Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall. An interesting choice because both Cunard's other ships have been named by Her Majesty the Queen. In fact, this will be the first Cunard Queen not to be named by the reigning Queen. In January, QE2 will leave Southampton on her last ever world cruise. Queen Victoria will sail alongside to New York, taking on the older ship's role.
And Paul's here with me now. A great day for Southampton, great day for Queen Victoria, but this announcement about a 4th cruise terminal is very significant, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. It's a significant deal, Sally. When you think that every time a ship calls, it brings £1 million to the regional economy. This is for 20 years. It is with Carnival. It's building new offices at the port for 1,000 staff. And this is by far the world's biggest cruise operator, American-owned, but the parent company with a host of familiar names. Now, you might remember the old Ocean Terminal in Southampton, magnificent Art Deco building demolished around 20 years ago. Well, a brand new cruise terminal, Southampton's 4th, will now be built more or less opposite that and close to where Titanic sailed from too.
So Victoria is one of several ships to come in the near future.
2 big names in particular next year. P&O's Ventura is bigger than Queen Victoria, and in April we get Royal Caribbean's Independence of the Seas, largest passenger ship in the world, 4,000 passengers at a time. She'll be based here all summer. But take a look at this. It is the Project Genesis, and it's the first picture of it you'll have seen. Work will start on it next week. It is an astonishing 220,000 tonnes, 2.5 times the size of Victoria, half as big again as Queen Mary 2. I could go on. It's the size of a super tanker, and it could come here.
They're getting bigger and bigger, aren't they? The naming ceremony on Monday, is anyone welcome to that?
No, 2,500 invited guests only, but if you go to Mayflower Park, you get a fantastic view right next door, the ceremony relayed on big screens.
Southampton gave a rousing welcome today to its latest cruise ship. Cunard's Queen Victoria cost £300 million and is claimed to be the most luxurious in the world. Thousands of people gathered at vantage points around the Solent and Southampton water to watch her arrive. She'll be officially named by the Duchess of Kent at a ceremony on Monday. Meanwhile, it's been announced that a 4th terminal is to be built in Southampton to cope with the rapidly increasing number of cruise ships using the port.